Welcome back, everybody. This is Empowerment with Dr. Lawrence. I am your host, Dr. Lawrence. Today we have a special guest. This is a friend of mine. We've been friends, we've been business partners. Look, we've been lifing together for the last 20 years. We have Dr. Larry Warner with us. So, what are we talking about today? Today, we're going to be talking about all things performance, and specifically, why do successful people miss the mark? Now, there's some medical reasons why, there's some environmental reasons why, and there's some reasons that just what I call framework issues that successful people bump their heads into from time to time. And we're here today to talk about it with you. We're here today to unplug, unlock you from things that are holding you from being your greatest. So without further ado, welcome to Empowerment with Dr. Lawrence. And here we go. We're going to turn it over to Dr. Warner. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, brother.
You
I'm
doing
doing
good?
good. And also, I just want to start off with saying this. Man, you're a good friend, so you refer to me as Larry.
All
You
right.
say the Dr. Warner stuff in
Man,
the
I got to
office.
give respect where respect is
I
due.
appreciate
You
that,
worked hard for
brother.
that.
Hey, I did. A lot of years, a lot of tears.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's funny though, man. You say that a lot of people don't give you the respect that you do, and that happens a lot of times, and that's a shame. But I honor you. You've been a great friend of mine. You've been, here for me in my weakest moments. Funny story, true story. As you try to go and take out different things in the world, take on different things in the world, sometimes you're going to fail. And it's really great. You've heard me talk about accountability partners and so forth. Well, this is one of my accountability partners. Coming out of the pandemic, I hit a season where things were just, not ideal, not with my best. And I called Dr. Warner and, without hesitations, hey, man, look, I need help. He dropped everything and he was a friend. And that's one of the important things when you go through life and you're trying to accomplish goals is having an accountability partner. So I'm honored that I get to bring my accountability partner to the show today. So look, man, we're going to be talking today about performance. So what in your words, what does performance mean?
I mean, that's a wide open question in many regards, but since you framed it in the context of what it means to me, performance is, in a nutshell, your ability to form at your maximum capacity. Because what I see in a lot of times, especially in society, we talk about performance. I view performance in the sense that it's a gradient because your level of performance and mine are going to be different in certain avenues. But when you're talking about performance, it's about your ability to put your best foot forward. And in the context of even mental health, which is my specialty, when you're able to do well from a mental health aspect, then you can actually maximize on your performance, just like your physical health.
Right.
With your physical abilities and your mental abilities,
They go
that
hand in
allows
hand,
you to, they go hand in hand like peanut butter and jelly. That allows you to get the best from your performance, and that's the best that you can do. And like I said, the reason why performance is a gradient, there are several things that affect that. Performance is affected by your ability and also what you actually label as success, because your ideal of success, and actually that goes hand in hand with performance, may be different than mine. So when you look at that, it's basically, in a nutshell, to keep it simple, I like to keep everything simple, it's your ability to do the best that you could possibly do at your peak level.
I'll add one thing to that, over time.
Yep.
Because you could be a flash in the pan and you don't want to be a flash in the pan. You want to be able to consistently hit the
Oh,
mark.
most definitely.
So over the last few years, a lot of my research has taken me down the pathway of trying to identify why there's so much anxiety in the country right now. And it's boiled down to three things. Chronic stress, people's relationship with money, primarily is the driver there. Isolation, we're spending too much time on our phone, we're not interacting with folks. And then what I call dopamine wars, where we have an improper relationship with our environment, with our food, with our goals and so forth. When you see individuals that come to you wanting to be better, what are some of the things that, that are getting in the way of them hitting that goal consistently?
The biggest thing that's getting in the way is themselves.
Expand on that.
Because when you think about most people, when I say the biggest thing that's in their way and their obstacle is themselves, and that's because a lot of my patients in my office and that I see actually put unrealistic expectations on themselves. So when I tell you things such as themselves getting in the way, it really is them. Yeah, you have obstacles like finances. You sometimes have societal stressors. You know, men have different societal stressors. Women have different societal stressors. It is actually different for all of us. But the biggest thing I see when you're talking about anxiety and the obstacles that people face, it is a ton of things that we could talk about. But the biggest thing I talk to my patients about is getting over the obstacle of themselves. Because when I have most of my patients come into my office talking about anxiety, yeah, there's people that have marital problems. There's people that have health issues. There's people that have work-related issues. But at the end of the day, the common denominator with all those things that you can address is yourself. And a lot of folks that deal with anxiety have just years of trained thought processes that are flawed in some regards. Because when you think about anxiety, unlike other mental health issues, like when you're talking about depression, that's a lack of dopamine, serotonin,
Right.
and norepinephrine. But when you talk about something like anxiety, it is a thought disorder. It is basically the way you perceive the world and the way it looks to you, which then will cause that anxiety. And once again, a lot of my patients' biggest obstacle amongst everything else is simply them getting their own way. And I actually try to help them get out of their own way. And once we do that, it becomes easier. And you said something that I want to harp on. You had mentioned something about getting there and being a flash in the pan. One things that I impress upon my patients, and this is really big because I like to give life lessons.
Right.
The hard part is not getting better. The hard part is staying better.
Right.
And that's when you get that self-awareness and get out of your way. Because think about it, even with stuff like getting a little bit off topic, weight loss.
Right.
Most people can
One of my
lose
favorite
weight.
topics.
Yeah, most people can lose weight.
But can you keep
But
it?
can you keep the weight off? Can you stay away from those bad habits? Can you stop doing the things that you have made into a habit and are easy for you to go back into? Once again, getting out of your own way. And that's the same way with folks dealing with anxiety.
So stay there for a second. So diving into the research, I call it dopamine wars, but what it is, we're having an improper relationship with sleep. If, as you know, that's a huge marker with someone's mental health, their performance outright.
Most
They
definitely.
have an improper relationship with food. I was on the show the other day, and we ended up talking about impossible meat. It's impossible that I'm gonna put that crap in my body because it has an effect on how we interact with one another. Are we sleeping well enough? Are we eating well enough? Are we taking things that we shouldn't take? Those things affect performance. Those affect our sustainability. And an interesting thing that I look at is you said that they have a responsibility. I need you to keep it real. Okay. One of the things that we've looked at over the last 15 years is I can't fix you. Okay. I at best can give you the tools to do your job, but you have a part to play. How many times are people coming in with a disproportionate goal or improper goal? You know, Dr. Warner, I want you to fix me versus Dr. Warner, I want you to help me. Talk about what those two look like, because that in itself is going to affect how you perform.
Got you. With regards to that, to answer it as best I can, the first thing I like to address with all of my patients is first and foremost, I'm big on words. Words are powerful.
They are.
I tell people, you're not broken.
Oh, that's
Because
huge.
at the end of the
That's
day,
huge.
when you come in thinking you're broken, that is a problem. Yeah, you have things that you can improve upon, but that's the actual
That's the
journey of
hurdle.
life.
Yeah.
But that's the journey of life until God takes you home. There's things you're going to improve upon. Every day I try to be a better man. Every day I try to be a better friend, better brother, better father. So that is a process, and that is a never-ending process until your journey is done. But the biggest thing I talk to patients about regarding that is words are powerful. And my grandmother used to always say this when I was a young man. I never really understood it until I became older. So I tell patients, first and foremost, understand, number one, you're not broken.
Not broken.
And number two, I tell them, you have to come in with the mindset of help me to help you. Because a lot of times what I deal with patients, they're my biggest hurdle. I will tell them, hey, I played sports my entire life. My coaches didn't ask me what I wanted to do. They told me,
No,
you're going to do A,
this is
B,
what
C,
you're
and
gonna
D.
do.
And if you can't do A, B, C, and D,
Sit the
have
bench.
a seat on the bench and you get some cool Gatorade and a nice view of the game.
Yeah.
When I have patients come to me, I tell them, okay, here's what we have to do, A, B, C, and D. They will come in and do A, half of B, none of C and D, and turn back around and be like, Doc, why am I not getting better? And to your point, you talked about expectations. Expectations are out the wazoo in the psychiatric world. We talked about it earlier. For instance, you come to me with depression.
Okay.
You want a medicine. I tell patients all the time, this medicine is not meant to make you happy. Understand the expectation.
Stay
It
there.
is not meant to make you happy. Medicine's true goal is very simple. I give you this medicine, which now will allow you that when things that normally make you happy happen, you become happier. You enjoy it. Things that make you sad still make you sad. You just don't dwell in it as long. But it's not, I give you this pill and then you're instantly better. Because I have patients that always come to me and they'll tell me, Doc, that medicine didn't work. And the first thing I ask them is, well, what did you expect it to do?
Right.
And usually when I ask that question, 9.5 out of 10,
You get a blank stare.
no, not a blank stare. I get some like, who told you the medicine was going to do that? Like, I never told you that. Where did you get that from? And then once again, that's why I dial it back with them and I explain clearly, here's the rules of engagement, things that we have to do to get you better. And here's what success and improvement looks like. Because trust me when I tell you, the patient's ideal of success is here, mine is here. You have to come to understand that you got to marry the two to some degree. Because I even have to kind of sway mine at times because I may say, well, hey, I want this young lady or young man to get here. But then based on what they're coming to me with, I may have to adjust that. But there have to be a common ground because I just can't give you something that's going to make life better. But a lot of people do come in and want me to do that. And I tell them I'm good at this, but I'm not a magician.
Not a magician. Well, look, so let's stay there. So expectation management is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I see the world in processes and systems. Success is a result of processes and systems. And so we have a society where we have unprecedented levels of anxiety and we have improper expectation management. You know, they're getting this information from somewhere. Mm-hmm. You know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was WebMD. Mm-hmm. Right now, you know, there is a lot of misinformation. The framework of healthcare is such that, you know, people are trying to address the mental health deficits. And what I believe is happening, and I also see the world in a business standpoint, it's more profitable for me for you to have a diagnosis because now I ensure that you come back. And so you have we have a well-informed patient population in the country right now, but oftentimes what I'm seeing and what you just alluded to is that they're misinformed. Mm-hmm. Speak on that. So however you want to take this, speak on that, the misinformation of patients today.
There's tons of it. And the biggest thing with misinformation is the places people get information from.
Speak on that.
I used to have a cup in my office that I took off the desk because my staff said it was kind of perceived as rude.
Okay.
And the cup said, do not confuse your Google research with my medical degree.
But ChatGPT says I have depression.
Exactly. So that's a battle that you fight with for patients. And I tell people, information is never bad. The problem in my world that I find, and this is my personal opinion, your interpretation of it is flawed.
Okay.
For instance, if I'm going online and look up how to fix my vehicle,
right,
I'm going to view that information different than a mechanic.
Right.
Because they have a privy of like, hey, this is what that means, this is what that means. So when you go and look up psychiatric illness online and you're looking at it like, oh my God, I'm like, that's not bad information. The way you actually viewed it was the improper way. So when you talk about misinformation, that goes deep. And let me walk through the levels of that.
All right.
You have misinformation on the patient's part, bad research, poor interpretation of the research they're finding.
Don't know what you're looking at.
Don't know what they're looking at, and then going to these weird places. Because think about it, there's actually good places you can go to get research, and there's bad places. All these places are not built the same. But if you want to find out about depression, you just type in depression, and a lot of times you don't look at your resources for that literature.
Reddit board is not the
Reddit, exactly.
Is not the cook.
It's not something that was, by board certified physicians and so forth. So that's the first level. The second level, which hurts my heart, patients are misinformed by doctors.
Speak on it.
True story.
All right.
I would tell you, if I have 10 patients that come into my office that say, Dr. Warner, I have ADHD, here's how those numbers work. Of those 10, 6 of them were told they have ADHD by a doctor. The other 4 were told by WebMD, a friend, or some non-medical professional.
It's chat today. Chat, yeah. Gemini, and the other.
And all kinds of stuff. So think about the numbers. 60% of doctors told you that. 40% of your research. Of those 6 that were told by a doctor that they have ADHD, maybe only 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. So when you think about hold on, a doctor is misdiagnosing, Yes, to a certain degree, because what happens is if you're not a mental health expert,
You should stay out your lane.
get out your lane. Because here's the deal: if I tell you this guy's having issues with poor concentration, what are you thinking?
ADHD.
Exactly. It's actually more common in depression.
It is.
If I tell you, hey, this guy's angry, what will you think?
Intermittent explosive disorder.
He may just be a jerk. More common in depression. So when you think about these symptoms are very hard to distinguish.
So they're missing affective displays for clinical diagnosis.
Oh,
Again,
most
it goes
definitely.
back to they should stay in their lane.
Most definitely. And that's the whole thing. And I tell people all the time, I have patients that, me and my patients, to a fault of mine, I love my patients. I truly do, because I want nothing but the best for them. But we have these dialogues where I educate these patients so much that I always tell them my job is to make you a junior doctor. For instance, I want you to understand your disease process. I want you to understand your diagnosis. I want you to understand why I'm giving you the medication. When I have a lot of people that come and see me, they'll just say, oh, the doctor told me this diagnosis. I don't know why. And they gave me medicine. I don't know why I'm taking it.
Dude, I remember we had a conversation a couple years ago. We had a patient come into my spot, and they didn't know what they were taking.
Yeah.
They just knew they had a yellow pill and a blue pill.
Now, how scary is that?
And I said,
Like the Matrix.
well, yeah, I know. Choose
Yeah,
choose your
and
level of
and
fun.
choose wisely.
And choose wisely.
Yeah.
So, true story, right? And that's a problem when you don't have an educated patient population, and some of that's the framework of healthcare now, where you got you don't have time, and a lot of the people that are treating these folks don't have time. So, I took a family member because to the doctor.
Yeah.
They went to an internist, and they wanted to get medicine for ADHD. I said, do you mind if I come? Because this is somebody I care about, I love.
Right.
For a new patient appointment, that should take anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes.
Easily.
Reasonably. We were in that office less than 5.
Yep.
And I'm over here fuming. And they was like, Doc, I don't need you to say anything. You just a family member at this point in time. So I'm okay. And I kept my word, but when we got outside, I was pissed. And,
You should have been.
And so what's wrong? I said, no family history. You got 3 referrals, so you had no family history, no symptomology. How long you've been dealing with this?
Right.
You basically came in and said you wanted this prescription. They looked you up and down and said, oh, I like those shoes. Here you go.
Here you go.
And here go 3 referrals because
Yeah.
I did a good job. Now, that, not to attack that particular condition, but the reality of it is that's happening
should.
every day. Well, I'm not going to do that, because the constraints of healthcare right now, in behavioral health, there's more allocated time because there's a lot of deep work that has to happen. But if you are having to see 50, 60 people a day, you just don't have the time. And, is there some responsibility at the physician level? Yes, 100%. But if we're gonna keep it 100, people got to pay bills, and they're operating as best they can within the system they're in, which makes this conversation so very much more important. If I'm trying to perform, I want to do better at my job. So I want help. I want an edge, because TikTok told me that if you do this, this is how you excel. What do you do with these folks that are misinformed? Because people want what they want. I mean, we saw that during the pandemic. You mean to tell me people are dropping dead left and right? I can't go to the Luther Vandross concert? No, baby, you can't. You can't. So how do you handle people who want what they want, and they're going to bypass your 20 years of research, of experience and medical, the tears you say, you said that so eloquently, the tears you put in to get to where you are. What do you do with folks that just bypass that?
I think people make that a harder issue than it needs to be. It's very simple if you ask me.
Okay.
All right, let's start with this. First and foremost, there's 2 places I'm going to answer your question, but I just want to place a little blame right now. And I don't like pointing fingers, but I'm going to point fingers.
Okay.
The first person I'm going to point a finger at is the patient. Why is that? It is your right to know what someone is giving you and why. I'm not going to leave your office with you just telling me this is what you have and here's what I'm giving you in 2 minutes, because it's my right as a person who is paying you for your time to give me what you owe me, and that's to treat me as a patient and treat me as your mother or father. Because I tell every patient that comes into my office, if you were my mom and dad, I would treat you the exact same way. That's number 1. Number 2, I get upset at doctors. I don't want to hear nothing about time for several reasons. Number 1, at the end of the day, when you're talking about time, Let's say I don't spend the time with you on the front end and
Okay.
I keep getting things wrong. I'm going to burn that same amount of time on the back end. You're going to get that time from me because
One way or the other.
one way or another, because I could do it right the first time and do it the proper way, or I could do it wrong and have you keep coming back to me every week. And yeah, you're giving me co-pays, but the headache and actually the patient dissatisfaction that comes with it. So at the end of the day, I don't want to hear about time. And the second thing about time, let's say I'm a primary care doctor,
Okay.
and this guy comes into my office, and I know I have 3 minutes to spare for him, but I know he has a 30-minute problem. Guess what I'm not going to do?
Rush through it.
I'm not going to rush through it, but I'm not going to diagnose that person, and I'm not going to medicate that person. You know what I'm going to tell that person? Hey, the issues you're having seem quite intense.
I need to get you
It's
somewhere else.
important to you. I need to get you to a specialist, because then if I sit there and I start diagnosing you and medicating you and do that, you know how many people come into my office and tell me, oh, that medicine didn't work, or this and that, and it wasn't because the medicine didn't work. The doctor was just throwing pills at them like, oh, try Lexapro this week, try Prozac this week.
And that erodes
no,
trust.
You should have actually stopped right at the beginning and it's been transparent, because there's people that leave my office that don't get medicine. And I tell them, the most important job I have is not to medicate you. The most important job I have is to educate you and diagnose you.
Right.
The medication is easy, because once your diagnosis is correct, everything falls in line. That's why medicines don't work well, because people are misdiagnosed. You're diagnosing someone with bipolar who has depression, someone with depression that has bipolar.
And
Why
these
the
things
medicine
take
doesn't work?
time.
Exactly, it takes time.
It takes
But at the end of the day, the doctor needs to realize, because if you come to me and you're my patient, and I know a lot about a lot of things, but you're saying, Doc, I have this issue going on in my chest. I think I may have this, that, and the third. I'm not going to, well, let me write something for you. No, I'm going to send you to your doctor so you could get that proper care. So at the end of the day, we make things in America very difficult. Most stuff is easy. God did us one favor. He gave us very few hard decisions to make in life. We make decisions hard. Seriously, think about
No,
it.
it's true.
When you're talking about a partner or a job decision, we go through these scenarios in our mind to make it hard, but the decision is right there in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like my decision to become a doctor, that wasn't a hard decision.
Everything else just got out the way.
Yeah, just get out the way. You know, my decision to have my kids, that wasn't a hard decision. I wanted to be a father. My kids are the greatest thing I've ever made, and
They
I
are
thank God
blessings,
for them.
man.
They are blessings.
Yeah.
Work and take all my damn money, but that's another story for another day.
Another story for another
But at
day.
the end of the day, when you're talking about it, most decisions are very easy. We make them hard, and that's why I say I put a lot of onus on doctors. And I know you said something, I respect it so much that, hey, I'm not going to, be mean to that other clinician. And I mean, from a professional aspect, everybody that's at my level has worked hard for that. But at the end of the day, I have a personal problem with those doctors that treat patients like numbers. Because I tell you, the way I practice medicine is, if that was my mother or father
Correct.
in front of me,
Correct.
I'm going to do this for them. Because guess what? That patient that I'm treating is somebody's mother and or father, is somebody's son or daughter. So at the end of the day, if you can't give them what you owe them, just tell them, hey, I'm not going to medicate you. How hard is that? To say, hey, Bob, I think this is a little bit above.
You already got
my
the copay.
intelligence. You already got the copay, right? It's not
So
that,
do
it's
right
not
by
to
the
go pay you
person.
twice. Oh, thank you for the diagnosis. Here's your second copay. Exactly. and my grandma, I tell you, man, my grandma was the wisest lady ever,
I
man.
wanted to meet your grandma.
Man, look here, I swear to God, I'd do anything to have 5 minutes back with her.
I know.
But my grandma used to always tell me, man, it's so easy to do the right thing.
It is, but people get it, so they get in their way, and that brings me to, all of my work in the last 15 years has been centered around performance, the so
Right.
what factor, right? When I go, I'm working with a group in Chicago, and it's funny because you go in and you talk to people, and it's their fault.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, wait a minute, no, all of our problems start with us. So
Yep.
let's start
All of
here,
them.
particularly as leaders. Let's start here, and then understand. One of the things I learned as a military officer, the very first things I learned was the 11 leadership principles. But the first one, the most important one, is to know yourself, period, and seek self-improvement. If I have a problem, I gotta first stay in the island of Lawrence before I can go over to the continent of Larry. And people don't live in that space.
Yep.
And so shifting gears to the broader picture of performance and doing well, the question that I have is, why do successful people fail suddenly? And that's a loaded question, and I want to
Yes,
get your
sir.
take.
So you say, why do successful people
Fail suddenly.
fail suddenly? I'm not going to answer it in the context, and I'm not, and I promise I'm not being a lawyer going around that question, but I would tell you this about successful people in this context. Successful people are successful and they all have one thing in common.
What's that?
They fail a lot.
You have to fail a lot.
They have to fail a lot because that's where you get the knowledge. So I don't want to put the context of failing quickly or slowly, but if you find any successful person, I promise you, they have a lot of failures. As a matter of fact, I don't want to do business with someone who's never failed.
There's never
no,
failed.
and I'm gonna tell you why.
Oh, that's 100%.
Because if we go into business and we fail, and you've never went through this,
You lost.
I don't want you to do this for the first time with me.
Right.
That's what
On my
do,
dime.
Right. Do I want you driving for the first time with me in the car?
No.
No, sir. So when you're talking about success, to the context of why do they fail quickly, I will say, without adding that context to it, successful people fail an awful lot. And I think it was somewhere, because I read a lot and I watch podcasts to nauseam because I'm not a fan of TV anymore.
Can't.
But I think it was Michael Jordan that said this, I had to fail a lot to get to my level of success. You talk about this guy, greatest basketball player ever to walk the earth. I don't, people have different opinions, but
I like
he
Kobe.
Is,
I respect
I
Mike.
like Kobe as a man and as a human being.
Yeah.
But when you talk about on the court,
Proving the results.
right, MJ is the GOAT. And
Yeah.
to my point, this guy was cut from a high school basketball team.
He
What
channeled
kind
it.
of failure? Some people would have took that failure and crawled into a hole. He took that failure and embraced it and said, I'm never going to
he
go
sat
through this
in it
again.
for a little bit.
Yeah, you got to stew in that. Let me tell you something. I can remember times in medical school where I was challenged and pushed. And when I've always failed something, the thing I've always said to myself was, I don't want to experience this again. And if I do experience it again, I'm going to keep learning from it. I want to take a lesson from it because I don't lose. I either win or I
I'll get
learn.
better. Yeah.
I don't lose. And at the end of the day, when you talk about successful people, there's so many things. Because, I hear goofy people, and I'm not trying to call folks goofy, but they always try to give you this secret sauce to success and all that. Man, I really believe, in my humble opinion, the secret to success
It's grit.
dude,
And
working
perseverance.
your ass off,
Yeah.
and perseverance,
Yeah.
not stopping. True story.
All right.
I'm in college. Let me tell you, I was a little thrown off in college. That's a whole nother story. But
We
I'm
all
si-
were.
I'm sitting
Thank
in
God
the
that they had camera phones back then.
Nah, brother. They be talking about me so bad. Like, you so boy.
I don't think I wanna listen to him.
I don't want to listen to him. But check this out. I'm literally in a room. I can't remember where this room was at LSU. But there was this professor that got up to talk to us, and we were all going to medical school. This guy didn't even say good morning.
Just walk in, start
Just
talking.
walk in. Didn't start talking. No. His first statement was, look to your left.
Oh, I've had that. Oh,
look,
yeah.
Look to your right. That person will not be a doctor. Here's what I said to myself. Sorry.
I know.
What you got? Because right there,
You made the decision.
I made the decision. It's either going to kill me or I'm going to be a doctor. So when you talk about success, is this my perseverance,
Yeah.
which is major to me,
Yeah.
and also my ability to work. You will not outwork me. I'm sorry. You will not outstudy me. You will not outwork me. So when you ask Warner, what's up with that? Two things.
Okay.
My ability to work, my work ethic is unchallenged.
Okay.
And number two, I won't ever lose. I won't. Because when I tell somebody I want something and really want it, it is gotten at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, that is what makes a successful person.
But you
to me.
gear yourself up for it. I mean, think about it. When football season, when you're doing 2-a-days, that's designed to break you.
We love that.
That's
though.
designed for the discomfort has to go so
By the
deep.
way, I love 2-a-days. But go ahead.
Well, we have to. So
That's why, because you had to.
Because
you
you
had
have
to
to.
embrace it.
you have true story, right? Before you become a real officer, so when you go to officer candidate school, and there are folks that go through ROTC, no disrespect to that, but when you go through officer candidate school, you are an enlisted individual, and they saw something in you enough, you had a desire strong enough that you wanted to be a leader of men, right? They put you through situations that just no human should be in, and they're trying to break you.
Yes.
Because if I break you here in a safe, controlled environment, you're not going to fail when I
there.
get out there and the bullets are real. So I'm going through OCS, Fort Benning, Georgia. It's hot. You have insects out there, you snakes and such and so forth. You got the pressure. They shooting live rounds at you. It's crazy. And you still got to perform. You got to move. You got to shoot, move, and communicate. Okay. And that a lot of that happens in business. I hated it. You up for 4 days. You know, and it's funny when they debrief you and you've been up for 4 days, they ask you your name, your social security number, and something about the chain of command. You know how many people can mess up their name?
Yes.
You know, now you see
Especially
that in
if you're under
football.
a lot of stress.
Yeah,
You're like-
you see that in the football. Somebody clock you, and you like,
Right.
who you? I'm Batman. No, baby, you ain't Batman. Let me sit you down somewhere. But true story. So part of the training is night navigation, and you gotta cover like 20 miles. And you gotta get there at a certain time. So you gotta be moving. You gotta, and it's pitch dark. There are no lights.
Yeah.
And you know you got ops out there. They got night vision goggles and everything. So it's a lot of pressure. Well, I thought it was unfair. I thought it sucked. And to be honest with you, I had a little different perception about it back then. I was pissed off. You're not going to find me. And God help you if you do, because I'm getting over there. I'm going to ring the bell and get my, you're going to pin me. You're
Right.
going to pin me with my brass,
I'm gonna win.
my brass bar. So fast forward to 2004 to 2006, I'm in Iraq. Okay.
Thank you for your service too, brother.
Man, I had a great time till my boss told me, she said, yeah, you're done with that. Hang the cleats up.
I know who your boss
Yeah,
is.
yeah. She, I ain't arguing with her. So
Yeah, you
shout
better
out
not.
to Nisi over here. So, man, I'm in Iraq, and we had to leave the FOB, so forward operating base, these external areas of control in a certain area that we would set up. I'm out there. We hit a roadside bomb. We had to set up a perimeter. So they know that every third vehicle is the officer's vehicle. Okay. I was the third vehicle. I was the officer in charge of this convoy. Boom! You see the white flash. You can't hear crap. Like somebody hit you with a sledgehammer. You got 40 people with you. You got to rally. We get on there, guidance, go to rally point, checkpoint 1. Cool. We get there, set up a perimeter. They started shooting at us. Now, you're already disoriented.
Right.
You already know that you got the responsibility of all these people. And so flashback to before we left, I shook every parent's hand and I said, I can't guarantee that your child is coming back, nor can I guarantee that I'm coming back, but it won't be for a lack of my preparation, right? So that's in the back of your head. That's kind of your motor. We set up the perimeter. We're catching fire. We call it in. We get, quick reaction force. We stabilize the situation. I think back to how it was overwhelming force. They hit us. They hit us hard. I ended up getting an award for this and so forth. But they hit us. They hit us hard. I had the composure because I had been through that. I had seen it before. And when you've seen it before, failure becomes a superpower.
Yep.
So to your point earlier, I don't want to go into business with somebody that's not proven. We talked about this earlier. A man that I let speak into my life asked me one time, he said, would you take fitness advice from a fat personal trainer? And the answer was no. I believe it's important to have accountability partners. It's important to take advice from people who are demonstrating the successes that they have.
Yeah.
Going back to the medical world, if you're that internist, if you're the nurse practitioner, if you're the, somebody that's outside of mental health, get them to the people that can help them.
Yeah.
Because you owe it to them. Your license is dependent on it, because if you had a bad outcome and your license is tied to that, you just created all kind of problems for yourself and your family. Get them to the people who have the demonstrated success. You go through medical school, you go through residency, you go through fellowship. Like, I don't understand why people do that. The question originally was, why do successful people fail suddenly? And I don't believe that people fail suddenly. I think the notion of suddenly is a misnomer. You don't gain weight suddenly.
Right.
You don't get divorced suddenly.
Nah, it's
you
a
don't get
process.
into a fight suddenly. There's a series of decisions that you've miscalculated to get you there. Success is a result of processes and systems, and so is failure.
Yep.
So
Without a doubt.
when people come in and they've missed the mark, and they expect they expect, on the medical side, someone like you to come in and fix them. To, you said words matter. I take issue with that, because you have a part to play.
Yep.
With the outcomes that happens. And, as a country, and I don't know how we fix this, but I think it's good that we're talking about it. We want everything now.
Yep.
We want to get married now. We want a happy marriage now. Well, you said something throw to me for 3 months in a row, and now it's time for the anniversary. We want to go and celebrate. I don't even like you no more.
Right. I love you, but I don't like you.
I love you, but I don't like you. We got
Right.
some stuff to talk about, but we want this watered
It's
down.
a microwave
instant-
society.
It's a microwave society. So
It is.
how does that work, man? I mean, I know the
It
challenges.
doesn't.
It doesn't, but people that have chosen the profession to go in and help people, we have to deal with it.
Yep,
So
we do.
what advice would you give to those that are in the trenches with us trying to help people realize a better version of themselves when we have a microwave environment?
Are you talking about from a provider aspect or the patient aspect?
However you want to ask.
I'll give it to you both ways.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do 3 things. I'm gonna answer your question, but the first thing I want to tell you, you had said something earlier that really stuck in my mind, and this is major.
Okay.
One trait that I also believe that successful people, because this is big, and I say this particularly being an African American male in the world, you
Okay.
know, it's just
It's different.
It's different. It's different. It's not a bad good. It's just different.
It's the landscape we
It's
operate
the landscape we operate in. You have to understand that it's like chess. You understand this is the game in front of you, and these are the moves that you can or can't make.
Right.
But one thing I think that really successful people also have, and I know I strive in this, I really do. It's kind of weird of me. I'm very comfortable being uncomfortable,
You have to be.
and people
Don't want
don't
it.
like uncomfortability. It's like if something makes them uncomfortable, they run away,
run
from,
away
it.
from it.
I remember my little cousin in New Orleans. He's SWAT. You know, shout out to Victor. He's a great man. Put his life on the lines all the time. He's been a cop for many years. He told me something one time that I correlated and I understood it. He said, "Man, if somebody is shooting at you, you don't run away from it.
You gotta
You
run
walk towards it."
Yeah.
And when he said that, I thought for a second, that's really my cousin, because that's my mentality. Like, because I want to see where these bullets are coming from. Because if I'm running away, I can't see where it's coming from.
And how dare you shoot at me?
Right. But that's
I'm gonna rectify
Hey,
this situation.
Hey, real quick. FAAFO, and you know what that means. I believe with that. But yeah, you know what that means.
Yeah.
But check it out. When you talk about success, I'm comfortable being in uncomfortable situations.
As a society,
because
that's a lost
I
art.
have faith in me. I know I'm going to find my way out of it. And that's what successful people have in common. They don't mind being uncomfortable. People like comfort. We talk about microwave society. That's why losing weight. I'd rather go get a surgery than hit the gym. Why? Because going to the gym is uncomfortable.
Man,
And so,
Serena's
like,
out there today talking about you can take this shot.
this shot, and
it's good.
think about it, and that scares me too. I look at people like, you're doing the shot, like what's wrong? Like I had a lady ask me, "Doc, could you prescribe this shot for me?" And I asked her a simple question: how often do you go to the gym? And she looked at me like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Do you go to the gym?" She was like,
But
"No."
it's hard. Weight loss is hard.
I was like, "Do you eat right?" "No." "Do you drink water? Do you sleep?" I'm like, "So you want me to skip all these steps and get you to the
So you wanna
end because
subsidize
you just
your
want to
hard
be
work.
sexy?" But here's the problem: when you don't
Son of
work
Bella
for
and
something,
all
hey,
that.
but when you don't work for something,
You can't keep
you
it.
don't appreciate it.
Oh, you can't keep
If
it.
you go in my office and you notice, one of the things that's in my office for me to look at every day, my first check in residency. That check was a small check, and I was a doctor. But that check I was so grateful for because that put money in my pocket when I had my oldest daughter. But it also humbles me to make me appreciate what I have and understand
you
that
went through.
it was hard to get here. It's harder to stay here in what I go through.
That's that longevity
so
we
that's
started
that
talking about.
success. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but when you're talking about how to help people in the trenches, I'm gonna break it down: clinician and patient.
Okay.
Let's start with the patient aspect. The things about patients is it's actually very simple. Ask yourself this question: do you really want my help, or do you want me to do what you want me to do?
That's a
People
great question.
no, it is, because people come in my office like, "Hey, I have this, and I want you to give me this," and I'm like, "Hold on, so you asking me what you have, or
How
you
we
telling
get
me?"
here?
Like, yeah, like how did you get to this? So you have to ask yourself the question: do I really want this person's help? Because when you come into my office like, "Okay, I want to be ADD, I don't want to be depressed, bipolar, anxious," don't come to see me, because you're already coming with a preconceived notion,
You have an
and
agenda.
now you want me just to say, "Yes, you have this, and here's a script." So from a patient aspect, number one, do you really want my help? That's number one. And the other part is very simple too. Number two, you need to take the onus of, let me go to the right person. There's too much information in the world where you can't simply say, "Hey, if I have a mental health problem,
Right.
let me go to the mental health expert." If my engine is knocking, I'm not bringing my car to the tire shop.
No.
I'm finding the engine expert, or I'm going to the car dealership. I'm going to the proper source. So if I'm having a mental health problem, I'm going to the specialist. If I have a cold, I'm going to the internist. If my child is sick, we're going to the pediatrician. So 2 things for the patient. Number 1, do you really want my help? Because I don't want you to come here, because that's really a big issue. I have a lot of patients. You come to my office really not wanting my help and not following my lead, because wanting my help also means doing what I ask of you.
Doing
You
what's
can't
gonna
do what
require.
you
Yeah.
want to do. If
Right.
I tell you we got to do 4 things, you do 4 of them and be willing to do 5. But after you ask yourself, do you really want my help? Make sure you go to the right person.
Right.
And also, now, from a clinician aspect, and it's very simple, have humility. Understand that it's okay if you don't know the answer. I
I'd
think
rather
some
earn your
doctors
respect and come back
right.
with a better answer.
Some
than to
doctors
tell
feel
you
like
something.
I gotta tell you something and diagnose you with something and give you a pill to feel like my job is complete. I would tell you, no. 25% of my patients leave my office the first time with no medicines, because sometimes, like, you know what, I'm not 100% sold on your diagnosis, and I'll tell them I think this is what it is, but I'm still ruling out this. So why don't you do this? Come back and see me in 2 weeks. Let's do a mood journal. Maybe have your wife available on the phone for I could talk to her as well. But I don't feel bad without you leaving with medicine,
Right.
and without you having a definitive diagnosis. I'll tell you, hey, this is the order of things I think it likely is, but having that humility and understand, hey, I think I'm very good at this. Matter of fact, I think I'm one of the best at doing this, but I also know I'm far from perfect. So what do I have to do? Show that humility, because at the end of the day, when I'm at home sleeping well, if I didn't do right by that patient,
gonna
they're
bother you.
suffering.
Yeah.
Right, and it's going to bother me, because guess what? I didn't do right by this person who came to me for my expertise. So at the end of the day, if you ask me about most doctors, just have some humility and be okay with saying, hey, this is not my expertise. This is not my bag.
But that requires, whether it's a clinical application or we at a Fortune 20 company, that requires you have a proper understanding of what the goal is. And I think, I see this in business a lot. I go into an organization, they want the money, but they don't understand that that's a byproduct
Strict byproduct.
of the goal. So
Money comes easily.
money comes easy, and
Real
it
easy.
follows you when there's
Hey,
value.
say that again.
It
Money
fol-
will follow you.
it
People
follows
don't
you.
understand that. It will stalk you.
But so here's the thing. So coming out of that situation where you helped me, I had to do something. I had a beautiful woman that I let speak into my life, Miss Cheryl, and she and one thing about her is she gonna shoot it straight, and she gonna give it to
And
you
that's
how
the
they
people
say,
you need.
no chasing.
No
She-
chasing.
she cut through the muck. She said, "Baby, God didn't call you to make this. He called you to the people." And at the time, I'm gonna be honest with you. It aggravated me. But success is uncomfortable. When
Very.
I sat in, okay, does she love me? Yes. Has she ever told me anything wrong? No. Does she have my best interest at heart? Yes. This is where that accountability partner comes in. She helped me reframe my goal. Baby, the goal ain't making money. Money gonna follow value. You gotta pour your heart out to these people. And when you do that, so when I go back to those executives I talk about, the group I'm working with in Chicago, your people not bad. Pour your heart out into your people, and the money comes.
Follows.
But if you chase money, here's the funny thing about money. Money got Olympic track legs, and it runs if you're chasing it.
Man, what?
But if you have value, it'll chase you down.
Man.
And that's the funniest thing, man.
Old cat I work with, and I actually, I've been blessed to have a lot of wisdom by old dudes. Older black guy, and I tell you, dude drove a Lincoln Town car. I used to work for the State Office of Buildings and Grounds, and this young man is probably deceased now because he was older. But I remember he told me something, man, and I tell you, it stuck with me. He said, son, money works harder for you than you will ever work for
That
money.
you ever work, but we got to miss.
And totally do. When he said that, it really at first went over my
They be
head. I'm
saying
like,
stuff that just go over your
I'm like,
head
was
at
he
first. Like,
drinking
wait,
a beer
what?
before he came in? Like, how is money gonna work? But if you think about it,
It does.
You sleep.
Money don't.
never sleeps.
Nope.
And you said something that I'm telling you, this is why, man, you've been friends as long as we have, and I consider you a brother. That thought process is just like mine. I tell my staff, and I tell anybody, I'm passionate and I love my patients. And I always feel like if I do right by them and do the best that I could do, the money comes.
It
I
does.
speak nationally for a pharmaceutical company. People always tell me, Dr. Warner, you're so good at this. And this is not me patting myself on the back.
But you
I'm really good
earned
at it.
that.
But not just that. But you know why I'm so good at it? because I love this thing I'm doing. I'm passionate about what I'm speaking on.
Right.
I speak on tardive dyskinesia, with the medicine called Ingrezza. I take great pride in that because I think that's a remarkable medication for a disease process. So when you think about it, I'm passionate about it. So what they pay me and the money I make, I
It's
don't
just a
even think
byproduct.
about that. That's a byproduct. I think about getting out here in front of the masses and educating my colleagues alike to do better for these people that deserve it. And guess what? The money will follow you.
It does, because there's a transfer of confidence, and when you have that realignment of your goal, right? You get to okay. When you see somebody sitting up here shaking and it can't move, and and it interacts, it messes with their career, it messes with their overall
Takes
success.
away from their functionality totally.
You give them a solution that can go and calm it down.
Yep.
That hyperactivity,
Yep.
it lowers. And when people understand your heart posture, then they follow you.
Yeah.
And it's a no-brainer. When we first started the clinic, and years ago, this is years ago, we're at our very first location, and this lady, I mean, she had to be 6'3", 6'4", she was, big girl.
She was healthy.
She was healthy. She was healthy. We're in the South. She was Louisiana healthy.
I had a guy say she was dense. She had good density.
Yeah.
I forgot that she was
I'm gonna
dense.
stay off of that before I get that in the comment. When you talking about me? Hey, baby, I didn't even know you. So no, but so I'm in a point, and we talk about the failures that happen in business and the things, goal attainment. I'm coming down the hall, and she steps out this room in my office. She says, "You, the one to be on TV, step into this office." And I she was confident. I step into the office in my own business. And it was,
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Of course. All right. Yes. Yeah, I'll be there soon. So we get in the office, and she's standing in the door. Now, this is a classic, no in our space. I'm in the corner. She's in front of the door, and she starts crying. And this is a true story. I'm like, oh, Lord, what do you... I'm already having a bad day. I'm already recounting, an opportunity for me to grow.
Right.
And she says, I've been coming here for 3 months. And I was like, okay. And she's crying at this point. I'm like, oh, Lord. And she's, I'm not 6'3", I'm not 300 pounds. It was, just a big girl. She says, I've been coming here for 3 months, and I wanted to kill myself. And this is a true story, not to make light of this, but this changed my perception. She said, but since I've been coming here, I have a new level of hope. And she gave me a hug. And so, the spidey senses went down. She wasn't trying to do me nothing. She wanted to let me know that she appreciated it. And it came on a day that I needed to hear that.
Yep.
And I went back in my office and I cried, because here I am pushing through. I done been to war. I done been shot at. I'm a highly decorated officer. I have other businesses. I've been successful. And here I am at the point where I want to quit. And I got that gift. God gave me a gift that day to remind me that my efforts matter. And although I'm not on the clinical side, but my effort, my work, the framework was such that somebody who had no hope to take your life, you have no hope.
Yeah.
You don't see any. You're trying to quiet a different level of pain, and this individual was no longer in that, and it clicked for me. I think as leaders, as patients, as clinicians, as people who care about whatever craft that they're in, I think at times they look at the wrong goal. In marriage, my daughters are young, and we saw them earlier. They want to get married, and their friends are starting to get married and have kids, and I'm like,
we got the shotguns ready. Don't
yeah,
worry.
oh, no, stay ready.
You just call me. I'm there.
Yeah. SWAT team, bad boys. What you gonna do? But the thing is, baby, what's your goal? What is it that you want to see?
Yeah.
Who are you looking at?
Who are you modeling after?
Who are you modeling after?
Yeah.
Janice and I are going on 27 years together, 24 years married, right? Because we dated, before and so forth. She had great models, right?
That matters.
And not to be any kind of gender roles or nothing like that, but the person she modeled after, me, supported Perry. Like, and she did it in her own way. Well, her model 27 years later is that she supports me, and that's something that's huge. I think what happens in this digitized world, in this instant microwave world that we're talking about, people, suddenly is a funny word. There's nothing that suddenly there is, just when it manifests and so forth, or when it materializes. But she had a good model. You and I work hard. Your father is one of the he's very brash and very straightforward.
He's very brash,
but he gonna work.
Yeah, he's good.
And that's the expectation.
Yeah.
I don't understand the notion.
And talking about popsters for a second, your pops don't play neither, so
he don't play.
So that's
Lons, what you doing? Lons, what you doing that for? Man, okay, talk about an accountability part. Let me tell my pop. So Janice and I, right after our 10-year anniversary, like, we ain't like each other. Like, I'm being 100. We ain't like each other. And I thought she was gone.
Still loved her, but you didn't like her. I'm trying to throw him a bone.
She knows, she'll tell you. We had gotten into a place, it was like, we had to make the decision.
Yeah.
Success requires full, unwavering decision.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be a doctor. When old dude said, look left and
All
right,
in.
you was like, bye. You made the decision. And so I went to my father's house, 4th of July. First holiday after Iraq. We didn't spend, because I'm big on spending family time. I'm up there. I got the street port in like 2 hours. I'm flying.
I'm going to say, you going.
I'm going.
2 hours.
Daddy, boy, what's the trouble? My daddy country, y'all. My daddy is country.
And my daddy too, country.
So, nugget, pinky ring,
yeah. Multiple rings and the belt buckle.
And the belt buckle.
Cowboy Bill, country Bill Gates, we call him.
Yeah. He says, hey, boy, what you doing here? You didn't call me. Come on in. You hungry? No, I ain't hungry. Oh, boy, what's the trouble? I said, what's the trouble? I said, she gone, Daddy. She gone. She gone and she gonna take all my stuff. Oh, boy, take me to the stove. I'm telling you that my marriage over. You take you to the stove? I want some coffee. Coffee?
The hell with your coffee?
What you talking about, coffee? Practice? We talking about practice? So we get to the stove. He said, hey, boy, run me over. The bowl just shattered. And I'm like, I ain't come here for this. But in that drive, he hearing me out, he letting me talk. And the cool thing about old people, having a mentor, having an accountability partner, is they done been there.
I about to say they done been there. They been through it.
Oh, boy, that girl ain't leaving. She just mad at you. You need to change your Tic Tacs. Change my Tic Tacs. I came 4 hours and 2 hours for you to tell me.
To change my Tic Tacs.
I wanted you to tell me about her and arm me so I can go back there and say my daddy said that I was right. That didn't happen. So, but he did. He said, change your Tic Tacs. You're the thermostat. She's just a temperature gauge.
Yeah, that's
And
facts.
It's facts.
That's facts.
And so I had the work to do. And I was wrong. Like, 100%. I was wrong. This woman she's blessed me with kids, a family. She supported me. She had the role model. I had to reallocate my goal. Yeah. And a lot of times in business, in our life, in the things that we're trying to accomplish, it requires that we have that insight. When I called you, first of all, you didn't judge me.
Never.
Second of all, we got beyond the Cat 5 hurricane, and then we talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, you good? And I understood what that meant, And what I know about you is that if I'm off base, you're going to tell me.
Oh, 100%.
And the beauty of our relationship is that I don't have to worry about being politically correct. I don't have to worry about an agenda. If I tell you something, you can take it to the bank. If you tell me something, I take it to the bank because there's love.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And the beauty of being in a performance-oriented world, because everybody's performing, not everybody's hitting their goal.
That's a fact.
It's understanding the framework of success, and having people in your life that can tell you when you're off base, that can tell you when, I wouldn't do that. How many times have you and I jumped on the phone call? It's not a 6-hour call. It's a 10-minute call. Hey, man, this is what I'm looking at. We had that the other day.
Yeah.
Hey, this is an opportunity. What you think? Not really into that. But in that 10 minutes, we came in and said, hey, but we can make a jump like this. You got your area of the world that you're conquering. I got my area of the world that we're conquering, but we were able to come together and then go out and continue to dominate.
Right.
I don't think people are dealing in that. I think if I'm just looking at everybody on TikTok and social media, that's just hell bent on getting you to stay on the platform so I can sell something, you missing the work. You missing
Totally
the two
missing the
days. You
work.
missing the grit. That first practice when you got full pads on and it's raining and it's wet and it's slippery, you got to be very intentional about where your foot placement is, and you know Big Bubba gonna hit you hard because
Yeah.
he trying to make squat.
He gonna knock the snot out you.
Yeah, but you need to. Sometimes that getting knocked down is
No,
important.
it wakes you up.
It wakes you
When
up.
I played football and got hit, that was my okay.
Oh, okay.
Now,
We
now,
doing
now,
this.
now we playing. All right,
I'm
cool.
good now.
That's good.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go. I think we lose that as a society. You know, how do we get that back?
It's such a great question, and you bring up so many points. I mean, it's a bevy of points you bring up, and once again, you know, I'm very pragmatic with how I, you know, present things and come across. So I'm gonna make it real simple in this regard. First and foremost, one of the things that you said that really strikes a chord. Society has lost its way. If you've asked me,
Okay.
we value the end product and we don't value the process. You talked about your wife, and this is not a knock towards women today in any regards. That is not what I do. But you had a woman that dealt with you before you were a finished product.
Correct.
And built with you.
Yeah, 100%.
So your empire is not your empire. Your empire is
Our.
empire.
Yeah.
Today we have a society where people don't want to actually have to deal with the person while they're struggling. They want the end product. And that's in so much.
That's a dangerous place to be.
It is, because here's the thing. It breeds jealousy, envy, entitlement, because content, all that, because now I want to be a part of your journey at the end of the race. I want somebody at the beginning of the race to give me my pep talk and tell me it's gonna be okay. I don't want that
Fast
person
forward.
at the end of the race like, oh, you won, so come on now, I'm here for you. And that's not just marriage analogy, that's business. That's life.
That is life.
Everybody wants to go the short way. No one wants to go through the difficult.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, even with patients, and once again, I love them to death, but they don't want to go through the hard part. I asked a guy one time, and I'm very intentional with my words. Young man had been dealing with depression for 20 plus years. I say, champ, how long have you been depressed? He said, doc, for about 20, 30 years. I said, okay, now I'm going to ask you a question. How fast do you think I could get you right?
Good.
And he looked at me, he was like,
tomorrow.
well, I'm hoping in a couple of weeks. And I looked at him, I said, now think about what you just told me. You've been battling with this for most, if not all, of your adult life, and you want me to not fix you, I don't like using that word, but you want me to help you in that journey.
That's what he
right,
wanted.
that's what he wanted within a couple of weeks. Once again, those false narratives, those false expectations, and then when you're trying to do things the right, especially in my world, doing them right, you get kind of in a situation with patients, because a patient don't want to sometimes hear the truth about, hey, this is going to be a process. This is not just going to be, hey, we're going to get to the end result. They want to hear, hey, doc, you're going to get me better in 2 weeks. That's why I tell my medical students and residents that I often talk to, with being blessed to speak with them in a hospital, I say this is the reason why medicines like Xanax and Adderall have just kind of taken over in the world, because they give people instant gratification. If I'm anxious, my Xanax is going to knock it out this fast. Now the anxiety is going to come back in 10 minutes, but it takes care of it. Hey, with that Adderall you're giving me, I really don't have ADHD, but you're giving me a dopaminergic surge. Yeah, it's going to help me focus, I'm going to feel better for the moment, but then I have the crash and all those things. So once again, when you're talking about marriage, you're talking about business success, one of the biggest obstacles and hurdles that people face, and you said it earlier, like I said, you made so many good points. Expectations is flawed, and when your expectations is flawed, that's why you have a misunderstanding of the process. Because if I understand this is what I want, and I understand what it's going to take, well, I understand and appreciate the process. I didn't go to medical school thinking, hey, I'm going to do this for about a year and I'm good. I'm in there. No, dude, after college, I had 12 years of schooling.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
After college, I had 12 more years of school. But I understood the assignment.
So I have a doctorate, right? And today you can get a doctorate in a year, which I think is funny. There's no dissertation, there's no research, there's no scientific method. And look, everybody's journey is their journey, but a friend of mine asked me, did I get, am I upset about it? And I said, no. I said, because you put instant grits versus one of them old school that then put some love in it. it tastes
You
different.
know it's better,
The
yeah.
finished product is different. So
Yep.
that's funny, but people are.
And that's a very good point. That finished product is different when those processes are different.
It
Much
is,
so.
and you can't circumvent that. You know, I I go and I work with high performing people, and they want to get better. They want to go to the next level, and that's fine. And when I encounter that instant gratification, the notion of instant gratification, I ask the question: have you ever had the flu? Oh yeah, I've had the flu. I said okay. So, was it Tama something?
Tamiflu?
Tamiflu.
Mm-hmm.
You get Tamiflu, you get a little steroid injection to make you feel better and so forth. They don't do that anymore, but that was the protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Tamiflu, a little shot in the butt, and you're gonna feel better in 3 days. You took the medicine on Monday. Okay, you know the flu's on its way out of there. You don't feel better till Wednesday, sometimes Thursday. Okay, but the medicine is working.
Mm-hmm.
If we give you a formula for success, if you went through med school, if you went through marital counseling, if you've done the things, you brought in a consultant, you brought in an outside source to help the inside processes, you gotta stay the course.
Yeah.
How many times are people coming in here? We talked about this earlier over coffee. You give them a medication, and they the day they feel better, they're off of it because they're
Oh
cured.
yeah, they're fixed.
How do you deal with that? Because that's all in the expectation
Oh,
management.
it is. The way I do expectations, I just tackle it head on. I really do.
Yeah.
In life,
That's scary
like
sometimes today, but
it is. But what's scary is not to address it.
True.
You got to
The
understand,
consequences,
right?
of course, yeah.
Exactly. So you got to ask yourself, this is uncomfortable and this is uncomfortable. What's
Choose
worse?
your level.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey, choose
yeah.
your level and choose your poison. And just like in relationships and dealing with patients, you ask, how do I deal with that with patients? I'm brutally honest with patients at the very beginning. I tell them, hey, here's what's going to work. And I tell patients this, and I tell them, I say, this is not me being brash, but you have to understand, if you've come to me for my help, you're going to have to do what I ask of you, because if you don't, I will fire you as a patient.
Yeah, you have
And I
to.
tell
Oh,
patients that.
that
I
is
say,
huge.
and they're like, what do you mean fire? I say, I probably fire more patients than a lot of doctors. And I say, that is not something I'm happy about. But here's the thing.
But you're protecting the integrity of what you built.
If you're not going to do what I ask of you,
I'm not helping you.
going to help you, and I'm not
Right.
going to do this with you. So at the end of the day, there's no changing your medicine. There's no making adjustments. There's no this. And I tell folks at the beginning, here's what you're going to expect. And I tell them about their disease process. So the way I kind of help with things is I'm just very transparent. This is what your disease process is. This is what I believe caused it. This is what I believe the medicine is doing for you and not doing. Because what you understand is the better you educate these folks, some of them are still going to do silly
But
things.
the success rates go up.
Exactly, because guess what? Now their expectations become realistic. Like, hey, he just explained to me why this is happening. I had a young lady come into my office when you talk about expectations. When I talked to her, she had told me that another doctor had given her Zoloft 25 milligrams and it didn't work. But when I talked to her about
That's a low
expectations,
dose.
I'm like, that was a tic tac. And then also, you only took it for 2 weeks. That wasn't the right
They
kind of
didn't even get in the blood concentration.
Exactly. I was like, so if at the end of the day, if I give you a medicine, I'm expecting at least 8 weeks before I see anything. And I also have to have the dose appropriate. But I'm also going to tell you what I'm expecting the medicine to do, because I'm not just going to say, here's an antidepressant, tell me what you think. I'm saying, no, with this antidepressant, you are not going to feel joy.
Tomorrow.
What's going to happen is when this medicine is working, one thing's going to happen is you're not even going to recognize it. That's why people keep a mood journal. But I tell them the biggest thing that you're going to see is when good things happen, you enjoy them
You
again.
can sit in the moment and appreciate
Not
it.
just you just sitting at your house.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's
Joy
that's
is
PCP.
a state of being. Joy is a state of being.
And your family and things that you love make you happy, not in medicine. But once again, society, because it's a microwave society, people have been taught everything that ails me could be found in the pill. You talked about Instagram. I scrolled through Instagram and it's kind of funny, man. You got medicines they're giving for ED, medicines for beard growth, medicines for weight loss, and it's almost like, but at the end of the day, like, really, like, okay, I could fix a lot of this with real easy. Go to the gym.
Man, let me tell you something. When I was in my 20s, I was at Mount Sinai, New York. Oh,
Know that place well.
Yeah. So this older doctor, female doctor, she made a statement to me. She said, 95% of healthcare wouldn't exist the way it exists today if we ate right,
Yeah.
if we exercised, and we slept.
Yep.
And she said it so matter of fact. And she
Damn,
and
that
she-
97%.
And then she shrugged her shoulders. She said, "Huh? But that's why I got a job." And I was like, that lady just dropped a bar on me.
Hey,
But it's
she
true.
really did.
I read a study last week about depression, and it was a meta analysis. It looked at 100,000 people, and in one of the things that they were looking at was the pharmacologic benefit that we have today, and then they looked at people that did exercise, eating right, such and so forth, the ADLs and so forth, and that arm had higher work. But then you talk to we have these conversations, and people are under pressure, and I can appreciate the fact that you take the time to educate people and to share and to pour your heart into them. And sometimes it seems thankless, and sometimes it seems daunting, because there's a system, there's an economic system of keeping you unhealthy. I mean, why else would they take the nutrients out of bread and give us this stuff that, I mean, Sunbeam shouldn't last 2 months and still be soft, and I'm gonna put that crap in my body. Right. Yeah, like when I was growing up, bread, you didn't eat it in a week, it got moldy.
Shit.
Real quick, and it's like, I guess I'm going to the store.
And
but
don't
now,
talk about milk.
Oh God, I can't drink milk anymore. But that's not true. I went to took the family to Italy. We're in Italy. I'm lactose intolerant. Like it's immediate, and yeah, it's not a good look. It's 3, 2, 1, yeah, boom. I'm in Italy. I'm like, you know what? I'm on vacation. I'm gonna eat a pepperoni pizza. I ate the pizza. No rumbles in my stomach. No.
Like, what the hell is going on?
Like, wait a minute. And my wife's like, you just ate that pizza? I was like, yeah, I did. But then it's funny. We get to Venice, and I walk around because I like to explore. So I'm walking around. I go into a grocery store. They don't have the same candy that we have.
Oh, no.
They don't have cereals that we have. They don't have. And I'm thinking to myself, that's odd. And I asked, I was like, hey, man, I need some Lucky Charms. He's like, oh, we don't eat that poison over here. My man said they don't eat. This is a grocery store clerk. He said, we don't eat that poison over here. And I'm like, wow.
That's all the European countries. When I went to Paris, same thing.
Same thing. It's just, but we have to understand, part of performance, there's a heavy dose of accountability that you bring to the table.
Really heavy dose.
So we've established that you can't run from fear. I mean, you can't run from pain. You have to sit in it sometimes.
Got to embrace it.
You have to have a coach. You have to have knowledgeable people that can help guide you through. You have to have your heart in it if you're the person that's trying to accomplish the goal. I still keep coming back to why successful people fail. And I'm going to shift that question because I really want to have your take on this. I think I know what you're going to say, but I've been surprised before. What are the top, give me the top 2, 3 barriers, and it could be a medical lens, it could be just a life experience. The top 3 barriers that prevent people from hitting their goal.
Top 3 barriers? All right, I'm going to give you one better. I'm going to give you 3 barriers, but I'm going to give you this first.
Okay.
When you say failure. Okay. See, this is why I'm different than a lot of people, too. I don't view failure like failure.
True. But most people aren't like
and I'm only going to give it to you through my lens.
Yeah.
Because when you say the failure aspect, man, there's so much growth within failure.
That's what you learn.
That's where you learn the most important lessons. Like, I've been shot before.
Same.
Not a pleasant feeling.
Oh, sitting on there watching your blood leak out your body.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
But going through that failure, it did several things for me. It did one thing that was remarkable. I knew I wasn't immortal.
Yeah.
I knew how precious life was, and it could be taken from you. So you could look at that thing and say, man, that failure actually could have saved you down the road. So I look at failure differently. Like, a lot of people look at failure like this is the end.
This is it.
I look at failure like this is the door that now I'm walking through.
This is the catalyst through which you can become great.
Exactly. So that's where I think when people rephrase their words, their thought process, failure becomes something you could hold on to and just accept.
That's what. Yeah. Okay. So let me rephrase it. I appreciate you saying that. Because when we put these things out there, it goes to so many different directions, and this is I think we're doing justice to recalibrate the question. What are the top 3 barriers, in your opinion, that keep people, that get in people's way? We'll just leave it at that. The top 3 barriers that get in people's way.
The top 3. Almost imagine an umbrella.
Okay.
I'm gonna say the person. That's the only barrier. I'm going to give you the subsets within a person that do that.
I like that. I like that frame.
My barrier, when I say I'm talking about a person. That's your barrier. I tell anyone, this is a great country. you are living in a time where everything is attainable if you put forth the work and effort, in my
100%.
opinion. No matter where you came from, where you started, we can all get to the same end result. But the barriers are within you, and one is actually lack of discipline.
100%.
Because think about it. I tell my kids, and they look at me crazy when I say this. I say, baby, you know why I make my bed every day? I say, because I start my morning off getting something
With
accomplished.
the
With
win.
the win before I start. And my kids like, oh, Dad, I'm going to
I
be
tell
right
people
back
I
in
coach
bed.
that too. I tell
I'm like,
people I
no,
coach that too.
fix your bed. Oh, we coming back. Fix your bed. So once
changes your day.
It changes your day. So right there, when you look at that issue with folks, it's that. The second thing I think that gets a lot of people is comparison.
Oh my God, I wrote about that in my book.
Because comparison, because here's what happens. I look at you and I say, well, this is what's going on in his life. You said something several times before. At the end of the day, remember, your journey is your journey.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about, hey, Dr. Salone got this going on, Dr. Warner got this going on. No. Your journey is your journey. That's why I think social media is such a dangerous thing.
It is diabolical.
Because people look at other folks and say what they have success in, what are they doing that I'm not doing?
As if they could do it. Man, I used to run a 6-minute mile. I used to be 4% body fat. I worked hard to be in shape as a 47-year-old man. I don't look at track stars and say that I should be doing that. I can applaud you for running a 4-minute mile or whatever. I'm not built for that. But that goes back to the know yourself, seek improvement. So so we got discipline.
We got discipline,
comparison,
and the last thing you said, you could think about DCE.
Okay.
The last part is expectations.
Expectations.
When you set these false expectations, what then happens, and this is a kind of a watershed effect. When I set unrealistic expectations and failure comes, mishaps come, I'm now defeated. Now I don't want to keep going because I don't want to be uncomfortable. And these are the things that just happen because think about it. And once again, this is not a knock to anybody. I tell people this all the time. People say, Dr. Warner, you must be really smart. And I say, you know what? I think God did bless me with probably better than average intelligence. But I say the thing that makes a doctor isn't smarts. It's just your damn ability just to not stop. Just keep going. Because I know some doctors that are brilliant, and I know some doctors like,
okay,
I like, hey, sure you all right? But
and you know what's funny about
doctors.
You know what's funny about that though? I know some very intelligent, brilliant, up here, and they're broke.
Hey, broke as a joke. Matter of fact, I was at a restaurant. No knock to this young man. Guy was the waiter at the table, and we just started talking because I like to talk to people. This dude had I think damn near a PhD in microbiology, and I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, this dude's probably smarter than me. And he's waiting tables, and there's nothing wrong with waiting tables.
That's
but
where he is in his
I
life,
knew,
but it's like
I knew he didn't want to be there.
Your capacity is much bigger than that.
So why are you here? But at the end of the day, when you talk about these things, I tell you, and I would never get off of this. I hate when people give you all these explanations. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you a true story.
All right.
Because remember what I told you about dedication,
comparison,
and expectations.
DCE.
Yep. But I had a young man.
I love it.
That came in my office one time, and this little guy was like, Doc. It's a true story. Man, these white folks don't want me to get ahead and whoop-de-woo. And I just looked at him.
I hate that conversation.
Hey, bro, I looked at him like,
really?
Stop for a second. So you think there's a table of white folks?
It's a convenience.
We're going to stop him today.
You.
Yeah. What makes you so special?
And I told him, hey, I say, man, what the hell makes you that special where you're the thought of their day?
Yeah. You've been reading too many comic books.
I say, brother, your
Rich
biggest
people
obstacle
focus on money.
Money. Not you, goofy.
Not you.
And I told him, you know your biggest obstacle? He said, what?
You.
I said, go look in the mirror.
Yeah. We don't want that accountability.
And look, because you know what? It's easier to say, and this is society.
This is society.
I failed, not because of me being a jackass. It's that man's fault.
No accountability. No autonomy. And
your failure is the result of your choices. But that makes people uncomfortable.
It does. And so when I tell my leaders, I tell my leaders, I say, look, I've never fired a person. I've been in business 20 years. I've never fired anybody. Well, your HR log says different. I mean, people that have come and gone through the various companies in our own. And I tell them, I say, never forget this. I say, you owe them expectations and resources. You owe them your best, right?
Yep.
If you do those things, and you give them resources, if you give them proper expectations, you train them, you do those things, and they choose to not do that, they choose to not show up to work, you don't fire them.
You fired yourself.
They fired themselves. A friend of mine, we were laughing. I was doing a cookout at the house, and whatnot, and he was talking about this young man that keeps getting jobs in the plants and so forth. And what's remarkable about the story? Yes, the guy kept getting jobs, but the funny thing about it is, in these high stress, where you earning jobs, you have points. They're not gonna argue with you. They expect that if you're here, you should do the things that warrant the success of the position. And in this particular example, they had 10 points. If you exceed 10 points, you're fired.
You're fired. Yeah.
Okay. And he missed all his 10 points because he couldn't get out of bed in the morning. He was late. And sometimes, and his argument was, just a minute late. Bro, do you know just a minute late and I'm trying to resuscitate you? That's the difference between you surviving a stroke or not. And I think that the misfortunate thing in our society is that we keep making excuses for people and giving them, additional chances because we don't want people to be uncomfortable.
Yep.
When you fail, this goes. We're tying it all together, but the reality of it is, when you fail, you learn
a lot.
I don't like being broke. I don't like being alone. I don't like getting promoted. You mean to tell me that they don't, because when we were in the Army, it's Colonel them and Colonel they, because people throw that word out really loosely. Well, they don't want, who is they? I need a name.
I ask people all the time, who is they?
Who is they? I need a name.
Because you're not that important.
Yeah, because if I get a name, well, why didn't we get this done? Well, they don't want it to get done. Okay, I need a General Honore. When I was at National Training Center, I just made first lieutenant. I was executive officer of the company that I was attached to and so forth. And I'm chewing people out because we were getting ready to mow because we were going to Iraq. And I'm living. I'm sitting there bobbleheading up talking to people, and everybody started wigging out. And I see this shadow come over me. Well, I was a little spicy back then. I said, "Who the heck?" And I turned around and General Honore kind of, big. I see them 3 stars, and I was like,
excuse me, how you doing, sir?
How you doing, sir? I went from, what the hell? How you doing, sir? Went to attention and everything. He gives me a coin, my very first coin. He says, "I'll go to war with you any day." This is on my way to Iraq. I've already had the conversation with the families. I'm going to be prepared. When you live in this place that you don't take accountability, how can you expect success? I like that this is a great topic. The discipline, comparison. And expectations.
It gets you every time.
It gets you every time.
Every time.
And I'll say this. One piece of advice, and you take this to whatever audience you want. Give me one piece as we close. One piece of advice, because you're successful. You're one of the most successful people I know. You're one of the most heartfelt people that I know.
Appreciate that.
And I'm honored to call you a friend, a brother. Give me one piece of advice that we can leave the audience with that can help them initiate their journey, wherever they are, to becoming or to obtaining the life that they want to have.
Man, there's so many things I could
I know,
say.
It's like, where do you go?
You asked for one, but I'm not going to give you the many. I'm going to give you 2.
Okay, I can take that.
One that I'm very big on: get comfortable being uncomfortable. And
that's
I know
huge.
I repeated that,
That's
but
huge.
I'm very serious, because in life, when people get uncomfortable, they run away from things.
Mm-hmm.
People run away from their marriage when it becomes uncomfortable.
Right.
People run away from their jobs when it gets uncomfortable. People run away from their health when it gets uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So be okay, be comfortable being uncomfortable.
I like that.
That's number 1. Number 2, and I tell this to a lot of my patients, give yourself some grace. Because people, I tell you, people, their worst obstacle.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we are so hard on ourselves. And I tell people all the time, I say, the world will be hard enough to you. You don't have to add to it. Yeah. You don't have to add any seasoning to it. Give yourself a little grace and know that it's okay if you didn't do it perfectly. Know it's okay that you're not at your best today.
That's that expectation management.
Exactly. Just be okay with be comfortable being uncomfortable, but also giving yourself grace, because I've really seen people knock themselves and tear themselves down so much that I'm like, dude, you talk about the world. You just could stay with you and
And
you
have
do
work.
and have work to do. Cause
That was
the
that
world
work
got
that
to
my
you.
father told me. I had to change. I stopped
Yeah.
looking at her, and this helped shape my prayer time. Because I went to God with all these problems that Denise had. And he's like, "What about you?"
Yep.
2 years
Yep.
that I had to work on me. I couldn't even focus on anything she had going on because I had 2 years worth of work in me.
Self-reflection is
It's imperative.
when you can look at yourself and be very
Honest.
real with yourself. Because I do it with myself all the time. I say, Larry, you could lie to a lot of people,
But you can't lie
but
to
you
me.
can't lie to yourself, now,
Yeah.
partner. And I have those conversations. It's conversations because that's some of the best conversations I have with myself.
Those drives home.
Right. But at the end of the day, I'm very understanding of my internal self.
Yeah.
And I understand my shortcomings. I understand things I need to work at. And I tell people that know me and love me, I always tell them, I say, hey man, I'm far from perfect. But every day I try
I'm
to be
honest.
better. And I'm honest. And I tell my daughters all the time, because I tell you they're my greatest blessings ever that God gave me, and I'm so grateful. But I tell my daughters, and Lyra's at home now, I say, baby, daddy works every day at being a better daddy today than I was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I say the thing is, I'm never going to be as good as I want to be. That's never going to happen because I want to be perfect for you because you deserve that. But every day is a journey where I'm trying to get better, and I reflect upon myself.
And that's that intentionality, though.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
once again, when you get there, life doesn't get perfect. It doesn't get easy. It gets easier and more manageable. But to your original point, I would just tell you two things, man, and I can't say this enough. Be comfortable being uncomfortable, because life is not meant to be easy. And at the end of the day, if you expect life to be easy, please go buy your planet island.
Go to Mars.
Yeah, go to Mars.
I heard they selling tickets to Mars.
Because brother, this life is not meant to be easy. It's meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to have fun. It's meant to have heartache. It's meant to have all those things, but it's not meant to be easy. And like I say, give yourself some grace and stop being so hard on yourself. And that's one thing I actually try to tell all of my patients, because they really are hard at me. I tell them all the time, I say, I'm gonna be hard on you enough so you don't got to.
You don't have to be hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on you enough for me and you both so you
Yes,
good.
yes,
Yeah,
that's
you
a
straight. Right. But
man,
that's the two things. I appreciate that.
And I
question.
appreciate you saying that. Listen, how do people get in touch with you? I can text you.
Yeah, you
I
can
got
text
your
me.
number.
Yeah.
But how do people get in touch with you? Because that voice, man, it's rare today. So how do people get in touch with you?
Gotcha.
How do people follow you? How do people, find out what's going on in the world of Dr. Larry Warner?
Got you covered. Well, I'm old, so I don't do much social media because I have
We the
about
same age, man. Hold on now.
Look, I'm older, but look, I don't have much of a social media presence, but you can find me on LinkedIn, Dr. Larry Warner. You can send me a message and so forth. But the office address, we're Collaborative Minds. The office address is 10235 Jefferson Highway, Suite B, Building 4. In Baton Rouge, right near BRQ Restaurant, I believe. Phone number is 225-456-2884. Fax number is 225-456-2892. You can also find us online. You can look up my practice, a little bit of information about me, some new patient paperwork, www.collaborativemindsbr.com. That's COLLABORATIVEMINDSBR, like Baton Rouge.com. And it's funny thing about Collaborative Minds, I remember the day I came up with that name. You was with me when I came up with that name. So that's how long we've been rocking.
We've been rocking from the get-go.
That is where you're at, and you can find me. And like I said, I don't even think I know my Instagram. And if you follow me on Instagram, I probably wouldn't follow you back. Sorry, because I don't get on there.
Got people for that.
But that's the way you get with me. And like I say, the biggest thing for me is just I love these conversations because it's so good to talk about mental health, because we've come so far as a society. But to be honest with you, we have so far to go. We have a far way to go. I mean, there's still a lot of stigmatism associated with mental health. There's still a lot of misinformation out there with mental health. There's still a lot of mismanagement with diagnoses and medicines, which is a whole nother talk point for the day, because we could talk about that for 3 hours. But the great thing is there is help out there with folks like myself, Dr. Salone. I mean, we're at the forefront of trying to help folks. And the one thing I appreciate about me and you, brother, of course, no one gets in this business not to be profitable.
Right.
But when you can get into this business and actually follow your passion and your purpose and do right by other people, like you said before, and I couldn't agree more, the money and the success and all that stuff, it follows you. You can't shake it. So at the end of the day, that's what we have. But thank you for the opportunity to come in and do this
Thank you for having
podcast
me,
with you,
brother.
brother.
All right. Well, guys, there you have it. Another episode in the book. Listen, if you like content like this, I need you to do me two things. Okay, we even gave a lot of suggestions today, but I need you to do two things for me. I need you to like and subscribe. And I need you to share this with somebody that needs to hear this, because here's the reality. The overarching theme about performance and what we talked about today is that, hey, listen, it's possible. And you have the opportunity to go and find an accountability coach. You have the opportunity to live the life that you want to live. So again, guys, look, thank you for tuning in. This has been another episode of Empowerment with Dr. Lawrence. Until next time, be well. God bless you. Love you.